Also, our paid mentorship program, which I think is really important to sort of show you that there are paid opportunities out there. We just listed a number of those on our website, so you can find those. The link is also in the links I originally provided. I work with the Academic and Training Special Interest Group, where we're working on ways to support universities in teaching RISC-V or transitioning from other architectures onto RISC-V. I also support areas like our alliances, our ambassador programs, and a new program we're actually launching in May, the Advocate Program, which I'm really excited about. And I'll tell you all about that at the end of our talks. I support our community in events such as this. And I'm always looking for new ways to work with the community to build community opportunities and ensure that people are feeling connected. You know, we are all over the world, and that sometimes loses connection. So we're looking at more ways to make sure that people can stay connected, get to know each other, and feel included. So I'll just jump right into some basic housekeeping things. The code of conduct, which is the first item I put in the chat, please be sure to abide by the code of conduct. We really want to make sure that everyone feels included and safe in our conversations. So if you have any issues during this talk or any time, really, feel free to reach out to Helen, Jeff, or myself. We're all RISC-V International staff. And you can reach us in the chat here. You can do direct messages. We really encourage you to continue the conversation in the chat channel. The last career fair that we had last year, September, was really fun to watch the interaction on the chat channels. It was actually the most interaction I've seen on a virtual event ever. And I was an event planner for a long time. So it was really cool. I know I left really excited. So that's always nice to have. So again, if you need us, you can just reach us directly through the platform. If you have questions, put them in the chat throughout the talks. Most of our talks are live today. So put your question in the chat at any time. And once we get to the end of the talk, if we have time, we'll go over as many questions as we can. As I've said earlier, but just to really reiterate, all of the resource links that I provided in the chat are available on the website that you registered and came into the event from. So you can find all those links there, as well as the recording of this talk. Let's see. If speakers wanted to provide their slides, they'll do so within the bio, within the speaker bio on our website. I don't think we've added any of them yet, but give us a day or two and we'll get them added, as well as the recording of the video. And we'll let you know once everything that will be available is live on there. Again, you can find the speaker bio on our website. And at the end of the talks, I'll walk you through our education programs and let you know about some of our upcoming opportunities that we have. We do have a lot of opportunities that I think are vastly underutilized. So we really encourage you to participate in those and, you know, be seen as a standout future leader in the RISC-V community. So, you know, I guess before we start, I think, you know, we're further on in our careers than I'm sure some of you are. And I know career paths and education can be overwhelming, right? Especially with RISC-V, there's so many different areas to learn. There's so many different routes you can take. So we really want to make sure that you feel prepared and understand that RISC-V International wants to be seen as your one-stop shop for your resources, education, and job opportunities. Always keep an eye on our website. We have a careers page, and that's where our members list their open career opportunities. So without further ado, I'm really excited to invite Jeff Scheel from RISC-V International to talk about accelerating your career with RISC-V. And I'll let you take it over.
Excellent. Thank you, Megan. Let me go find the right thing to share here since we are getting going. You want to give me a thumbs up that looks good? I think that's going to work for us, right?
Got it.
All right, people. So as Megan said, one, don't forget to use the chat. Hopefully I'll leave a few minutes here where we can answer a few questions and, you know, get you a little additional insight beyond what's in the slides. The slides will be shared. My email address is up there. Feel free to reach out that way or via LinkedIn. Either one works really well. So, hey, I am Jeff Scheel. I am a technical program manager with RISC-V. What that means is I spend the bulk of my time helping our technical contributors have success at whatever they are working on, whether that's code, whether that's specifications, whether it's starting new ideas and new initiatives within the foundation. A lot of that comes back to us as technical program managers to assist with. Before we deep dive, actually, let's back up real quickly. I'm here to talk about how you can accelerate your career with RISC-V. I've opened the aperture a little bit and talked about that from, say, an open source perspective as well, because both are sort of similar, because community-based activities oftentimes have a lot of key things in common. What I'm calling this is creating a win-win for you and actually the community you'd be engaging with, because there is a lot of opportunity, and hopefully the way I want to break this down for you will be very helpful in a good way to think about this. A little bit of a background for me. Although I am based in Michigan today, one of the central sort of northern states in the United States, I got my bachelor's of science in computer engineering out on the West Coast at the University of California, Davis. I do have 30 years of industry experience. Started briefly with HP. I spent the bulk of my time at IBM. I've worked for Canonical. Now I've landed with the Linux Foundation working on RISC-V. I've worked in firmware. I've worked in hypervisors. I've worked in operating systems, spent a lot of time in open source, especially the Linux realm. I've been a programmer, team lead, architect, manager, technical program manager, even a technical executive. And as I said, now I work as a technical program manager. So I bring a lot of different levels and insight to this, and this topic sort of really excites me, both as a manager and somebody who's helped try to grow talent, as well as a parent who's tried to raise kids to go contribute to technology areas as well. And I think the opportunities, if I look back between when I was younger and now, have just really increased due to open source. So here's how I want to think about building your career with open source and how RISC-V can help you as one of those opportunities. And I'll get to the specific RISC-V sorts of things on the next slide. If we think about what do developers, and I'll use developers as sort of a generic term here for whether that's hardware, software, any of these real technical careers here, when you start working, what you soon learn as you get into your career is that there is almost an onion set of skills where, with more and more experience, you're going to build these. And so we all start with a basic set of skills. These could be our personal skills. These could be our organizational skills. We add on top of that things we learn in college and we begin to take on through our careers, our technical skills. We then, as we start to work with teams, we start having team skills, whether that's team participation skills or team leadership skills. Then as our projects and our activities get bigger, we throw on project level skills when code, as an example, isn't just the 100,000 lines of code you work on by yourself, but the 2 million that are incorporated in the application or the operating system or whatever it is that you have. And then over time, you're asked to lead things, whether it's small teams or whole organizations, or maybe even whole companies. And then finally, there's this idea of sort of being forward thinking, the business side, the revenue side, the expense side, that really wraps around everything else you've done. So a career is built really out of layering on more and more of these things over time. If we think about what goes on in an open source community, I would argue the same sorts of experience gradient sort of applies as to what goes on in open source communities. If we look at them very basically, there's the most foundational sorts of activities in these communities. If there's a meeting, somebody's taking notes. If there's a website, somebody's got to keep that up to date. If there's a wiki, it's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing. Those are very straightforward, sort of low experience activities that get done in open source communities. As we move on down or increase the experience level, now you get into more technical things. You have documentation being written, you have testing going on, you have code being written, and you have the architecture for new ideas, new projects going on within that community. If it's big enough, there is at least one team, certainly, maybe even more than one team working in an open source community. So now we get into those organizational sorts of aspects. So there could be teams. With teams come then projects, and any sort of forward planning activity has to be done. So a project sorts of activities are going on. Once again, then now with teams and projects, you need leadership, you need decisions, you need strategy going forward. And ultimately, you might need to start new activities, new sub-projects, new sub-teams, new whole opportunities. These are the sorts of activities that are going on in open source projects. And RISC-V is no different than any of these communities. And so here's my proposal for building a plan of action for how to build your career. Think of it as a portfolio. Think of it as things you've done, things you've demonstrated, and things you haven't yet perhaps mastered, still need to be worked on, or you'd like to grow your resume, CV, portfolio to improve it. So start by one, taking your skills and mapping them, identifying which ones are gaps. Do that self-analysis. The second, Megan, it looks like we may have an issue with the session real quickly. Let me just stop and pause quickly.
Okay.
You see Dimitri's question? He says, all I see is this session will start soon. Is that okay?
Oh, no. I see it going. I see the session going. Dimitri, I
Yeah.
would log out and log back in.
Can somebody else confirm that they can see the slides and hear me?
Yeah, I can also see the slide and hear you.
Yep, a lot of people
Okay.
say. All right.
All right, good. I mean, I was on a roll here. I was worried you were going to ask me to go recreate all of this and start over. But all right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the vote of confidence here. So let's go ahead and sort of just summarize the last few minutes here, which is start with analyzing your skills, figure out where your gaps are. Once you have that set of gaps, start mapping them to communities that have needs or communities where there's overlap, and use that to help you gain experience in a very public way. Meaning in GitHub, in your LinkedIn environment, in certainly the mailing list. And that is the power of what you can do with RISC-V and other open communities, is you can build this public resume that shows, what you've contributed to, what you've led, how you've handled challenges as, a lot of these mailing lists are available. And if you attack that in a systemic sort of way, where you're looking at what you need and then trying to do those activities in an open source way, you actually get a bonus and a bump beyond what's going on inside of your business and inside of your community. And so this is a way you can take sole control of your career and grow things beyond what may be occurring in your business. So it is such a wonderful opportunity. Now, let me give you some examples before we roll over to the last few things. So let's just sort of hypothetically say that your team leader turns to you and says, you need to learn Go. And really, it could be Go, it could be Rust, it could be any new programming language. Or maybe they said it in the inclusive way, we need to learn Go. What could you do? You could go find a community working on Go and implement a couple of features or fix some bugs and begin to start learning Go outside of what's going on in your business, in your sort of 9-to-5 job. There's one example. Second example, if you work in a company and you have a manager, at some point in your career, your manager might say to you, you need experience leading a team. Excellent. What might we do with that inside of an open source community? You could go in your open source community, propose a project within that community that's multi-person. You could go lead it, you could go deliver it, you could go take ownership for that and deliver that to the community, and thus expand your resume in a way that your manager didn't have to do things inside of the community, and it's you taking the initiative. And bringing this back to RISC-V and talking about it specifically, let's assume you're an electrical engineer and you say, wow, I'd really like to try, hypothetically speaking, logic verification. Well, you could go join our SAIL Golden Model SIG and implement a small feature there and practice working among the people. You could gain experience with SAIL. If you really wanted to grow, you could also write the compatibility tests that sit on top of SAIL and work on that feature and learn verification skills that go with that. So that's my third very, very specific RISC-V example. Now, later in the sessions today, I'm going to talk about how to do technical contribution and leadership and sort of fine tune these set of ideas. So at the risk of putting in a little teaser for things to come, please come to that session and we'll help give you some basics that may make this more simple. And I expect that even some of these other sessions will also help with that. So the basic idea here is give a little, learn a lot, and grow your career here. But do it in an organized fashion would be my suggestion. You can do this. So let me stop and say, hey, Megan, did you see anything in there? Any questions? Anybody have any questions? We have a couple minutes left here, I think, until we need to jump to the next thing. Any questions?
I don't see any in here. Everyone's really
Wow,
engaged. They all noted. They all responded right away about your.
Right. So they're awake. I'm just, given that we got a little bit of a late start and we had that hiccup, we could transition it over to Raphael, and I think that probably would be the good thing to do. But hey, folks, hope this sets some ideas for you. Hope this gets you thinking. Please feel free to reach out as necessary, and I'll hang around here as well. So, Megan, you good with me transitioning to Raphael? I'll go ahead and start that introduction if you're ready.
Yeah, we're ready.
All right, let me stop sharing. Hey, folks, our next session will be Building Personal Technical Eminence from my colleague, Raphael Sene. He's been working with us in RISC-V here about 6 months and already starting to, grow new technical eminence for him, but contribute to our group. And Raphael and I have quite a bit of history, so I'm anxious to hear what he's going to say here and going to hand it over to Raphael. It is all yours, Raphael. And I cannot hear you. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
okay,
now
cool.
you can. And I'm sharing the wrong screen. Let me fix this. Not to use it to the technology. So hang on 1 second.
Why is it technologists that have the hardest time?
Yeah,
Yes.
and Raphael, the other thing that I think we discovered is if you can put everything in a window and just share the window, the slides will show up a little bit bigger.
I'm convinced that this is going to be the best approach. 1 second. Let me organize things here quickly. Let me share the PDF. That will be easier. First thing about technical eminence, learn how to do a presentation.
No, but now people understand why all event planners tell people to pre-record their talks, because There's always something.
Yeah, so let's see if I can share here again, and then we move forward. Sorry for the technical issues. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Can you see that?
No.
No?
Oh,
Can you,
here it
can you see?
comes. Yeah, I see our faces. I think you're sharing the wrong screen because you're sharing the screen. of this.
Yeah, that's interesting. Window entire screen. Now we are good to go. Right?
There. Yep.
Okay. I'm going to use the PDF, and I'm going to avoid starting the video, otherwise the bandwidth is going to be really bad. So, hello everyone. Excited to be here and share some of my insights on technical eminence. So, before we deep dive on this subject, let me just introduce myself briefly, and we can move on. So, I'm holding a bachelor degree in computer science, along with 3 MBAs. I specialize in project management, data protection, and production engineering. And throughout my career, I had the opportunity to work in various roles, including developer advocacy, software ecosystem development, hybrid cloud development, especially focused on Kubernetes, project management, academic research and development, and working on more low-level stuff on developing tools for developers. Those experiences helped me a lot on forming the basis for my career. Outside my professional life, I'm an avid cyclist. So which loves like exploring new roads and pushing my limits somehow. And just as in cycling, I believe that embracing challenge and continuous learning are the key achievement or key on achieving success in your careers, and that contributes for technical eminence. So with that said, let's move on and start to cover some of the items. The first one is curiosity. Like curiosity is the driving force behind any successful individual in the world of technology, and is the, let's say, the lead. It is the desire to explore and understand the unknown, or to ask questions and seek answers. To become a true leader in your field, or you need to become a true leader in your field, cultivate somehow a curious. You need to cultivate a curious mindset. The, uh, don't be afraid, as one of the advice here, to ask questions. Challenge the status quo as much as you can, and explore new ways of thinking. Everything starts with curiosity and asking the right questions, but uh, asking the right questions maybe is not enough, but you need to seek for answers fearlessly, which means that it's not, and as I said, it's not enough to simply ask questions. You must also be fearless in seeking answers. This means deep dive into research, experimenting with new ideas, and even making mistakes. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Remember that failure is just another stepping stone towards success. And embrace it, learn from it as much as you can, and keep moving forward. And the keep moving forward, I would say, is the best thing for the best supported by continuous learning. I mean, we know that if you are in this technology world or any other area, uh, everything is constantly evolving. And if you want to stay relevant somehow, you must be committed to continuous learning. This includes stay updated with the latest trends, tools, and some techniques in your field. And you can also attend conferences or presentations like this one, read a lot of articles. There's available there. Join industry forums. Let's say within RISC-V, we have a lot of that open for discussion, if you will. So you can gain insights and knowledge from experts, or even build this expertise by sharing knowledge with others. Making learning a lifelong journey is a crucial part of your technical eminence. Uh, And that will lead you to discover uncharted territories, which means don't be afraid to touch what you don't know, right? As you explore new concepts and ideas, don't be afraid to venture on those unknowns. Pioneers in the field of technology or in any other field are often those who dare to think differently and break the mold. You need to think about how you can seek out opportunities to work on innovative projects and challenge yourself to think beyond the existing boundaries or virtual boundaries that are in place, and ensure you can expand how things can expand or change how things can be done. So don't be afraid of the unknown. Usually, there's a good amount of benefit by trying to explore that. And also, so the next one is a good one, especially in the days nowadays, I'd say, and how you can explore social media in a beneficial way. Uh, Social media has become a powerful tool for knowledge sharing and networking, but also for learning. We all know that. So by exploring its potential, you can build your personal brand, for instance, and establish yourself as a reference for a given field. Maybe you can share insights and expertise through blog posts, LinkedIn articles. So within RISC-V International, we have this capability where people can write blog posts. So we can help propagating that. And let's say, and this is not only help you, but also expand your network and open doors to new opportunities. So there's a lot of great content creators on different areas. And if you start following them, you're not going to get a really good stream of information, but it's going to help you keep yourself up to date. So I'm saying I added this item here because I know a lot of low-level developers that avoid social media because they believe that's not bring value. But when you start exploring those, let's say there's a good amount of good profiles on Twitter, a good amount of profiles on LinkedIn or any in other social medias. But when you start exploring that and using that as input for your, let's say, your backlog of learning, that helps a lot. And that, as I said, that helps you to keep you up to date on where things are or or the direction things are moving towards your area. So that also helps you to not get stuck. That's a good point. As I said before, don't be afraid to move or to explore the unknown. And here I can repeat that: don't be afraid to take the next step. The key to growth is in any field is being adaptable and open to change. Don't get stuck in your ways or becoming complacent with your current knowledge of skills. So never assume what you know or never assume what you know is enough. Always keep pushing or always question what you know and what can be improved or what you can unlearn and learn in a different way. Continuously push yourself to evolve, learn, and grow. So that's the key for technical readiness. Embrace change and be willing to let go all the ways of thinking, as I have mentioned. So make room for new ideas and possibilities. Last but not least, and I believe this is the most important one, embrace the power of seeking for help. So remember that seeking for help is not a sign of weakness at all, but rather a testament of your commitment on to growth and learning. Don't hesitate to ask for guidance or assistance from your peers, mentors, or even online communities. Collaborating with others others will and learning from their, let's say, learn from their experience can help you overcome challenges and accelerate your journey towards technical readiness. And I'd say throughout my career, learning how to ask for help was one of the big things or the big skills that helped me a lot, especially on areas that I was not really familiar with, or even when I was just starting. Ask for help. Does not be shy. Let's say, ask uh, any questions. Don't be afraid of someone considering your question like uh, a very entry level, or do not judge your questions before asking them. So ask for help, and ask questions. That would be the biggest and greatest advice I would give you all. So I would say those are the 7 key items that I would like to share with you all on building technical eminence. There's no recipe, there's no written rule for that, but there's a set of behaviors that can help you throughout your career. And as I shared here, I consider these 7 one of the most important. At least those are the 7 that helped me a lot throughout my career. So technical eminence, as we are discussing, is more a journey that requires curiosity, fearlessness, continuous learning, exploration, adaptability, and collaboration. By embracing those principles somehow and committing to personal and professional growth, you can reach new highs with your career or within the field you are working, making a lasting impact on that. So, with that, thank you very much for your time, and I hope this presentation has inspired you a little bit to continue moving forward on learning and growing your technical eminence. Uh, do you have any questions or comments?
Looks like there's one in the chat. As one of those developers who tends to avoid social media while still wanting to share ideas, do you have any tips regarding avoiding the more unhelpful aspects of these platforms?
So, let's say what I try to do. Let's say let me give you a real example. If you look at my Twitter profile, you're going to see them follow thousands of individuals, and I'm not. And those individuals I'm following are the ones that share the majority of them share technical subjects. So, and this is how I try to avoid that bad, let's say, reputation of social media that can lead us to, can lead us to me, or push us away from that. I just follow individuals that share technical content that are somehow related to my area, and also I like exploring different areas. So I follow technical individuals from other areas. Like say I'm in this technology world involved with computer and processor and ISA development. But I also follow a lot of technical individuals from building, for construction, from in production engineering, because usually those kind of resources give me or provide me with resources to see things on my daily activities from different point of view. So this is what I do. If you go to my LinkedIn, you're going to see that I follow a lot of technical individuals, and this is how I try to keep information or keep me away from the bad reputation from this social media. So you need to know how to select who you're going to follow. And as I said, the majority of my time I'm following those individuals. I'm not posting a lot, but I'm following technical individuals that can help me get informed and learn a lot. So other than that, so I can. I'm not really sure about a good technique for that, but this is what I do and helps me a lot. So I do not see a lot of bullshit in my timeline because I'm following some individuals that on a daily basis are sharing good technical content. And that took me a while to build this kind of list. So it's not something that you're going to build from, on a very short, in one day, I'd say. But that's it. That's what I did. So, and that's why I believe this is important. Is free knowledge.
And I was just going to share something else that I think is important is if you find one person that you trust their content, look and see who they follow.
Yep.
Because those are let someone else do the work on weeding out the good and the bad, but you can always unfollow people. That's something I found. I follow a lot at once, and then I decide whose content is relevant or is truthful or not. So Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Raphael. Really appreciate your talk. You're still sharing your screen, by the way. There you go. All right. Well, now I'd like to call up our next speaker. So this talk is your 1,000-mile RISC-V journey begins with a single step. This is Stephen and Ding Kai from Andy's Technology, who are one of the main reasons we're here today. So really grateful for them being sponsors and supporting you all as students. So we'll go ahead and get started with the talk. There's no sound, Helen. Hang on, folks. Technical difficulties. Still no sound.
You say you can't hear?
No, I can't hear it.
You can hear it.
I cannot.
Oh, cannot. All right, let's try the other method.
Make sure to check that you have sound not muted on your system as well when you do that.
Oh, yes. All right, let's try this again.
Hi, I'm Stephen Young, AVP at Andy's Technology. I'm honored to be here today to talk to you about a career in RISC-V CPU. As an early age, you were taught to have goals. Most new graduates want what everyone else wants: a career path, promotions, rewards, whether it's be recognition or money. You want to conquer the world, and you want to do it now as soon as possible. And why not? You went through several grueling years at college, so of course you're hungry for success. And as engineers, we like to plan. I remember when I first graduated, I had it clearly mapped out. Step one, I wanted to do something interesting, something that had related to my degree in engineering. Step two, I wanted to get lots of experience. I was going to work harder, longer, faster than anyone else in the office. Step three, I was going to get recognized. I was going to get promoted. I was going to get rewarded. I demanded their attention, and I was going to repeat the process until inevitably one day I will conquer the world. But as it turns out, the road to success is a long and difficult one. I quickly received a dose of reality, and I was overwhelmed. I received my dose of reality, and I realized I was unprepared. Whether I was working on hardware design, software design, verification, I struggled. Every issue was foreign to me, and it felt like a war or a battle of willpower. I was fortunate though. I worked in a team that was very patient with me and offered me many opportunities to learn. Slowly, understanding came, and I realized that whether it be hardware, software, design, verification, placement routes, they each had their unique problems, but all coexisted, consolidated into one single effective solution. And I was very happy to have played a role in each of these parts. Slowly, I began to tackle more and larger problems, and now, 20 years later, I'm still building CPUs. I got to watch the birth of RISC-V and how the industry is changing because of it. I got to see how technologies came forth and how RISC-V is adapting to it. Oddly, I don't really care so much about those goals I had set 20 some years ago, but instead today, I just want to be a part of this growth. But today it's about your career and your 1,000-mile journey. And make no mistake, this is a 1,000-mile marathon of stamina and perseverance. So here's some advice. First, don't stop learning. Subscribe to engineering articles, read RISC-V documents. RISC-V is open source, so the documents are free. The people here are great. Join the forums, take advantage of this. Don't worry if your first job is something unexpected. Try it. Every position can teach you something new. It's most important, however, to find a team that will both challenge and cultivate you. You're going to be uncomfortable a lot. Engineering isn't easy, and having chosen RISC-V CPU as an occupation, hey, congratulations. You just picked one of the hardest professions out there. Throw yourself into it. But once in a while, take some time, turn around, look back, and be proud of what you've accomplished. No matter how difficult the problem you're facing today, be reminded that it's no different than the challenges you've faced in the past. Be confident that you will solve it by taking simply one step at a time. Be patient, don't sweat it. And speaking of first steps, why not try your first step at Andes Technologies? Andes Technology is established in 2005. We are a pure play IP company. We specialize in 32-bit and 64-bit RISC-V CPU. Across the world, we are a company of 400 people, where most of us are engineers. The majority of our products go into variety of applications, including mobile, automotive, storage, 5G, and data center. We have a North America team of sales, FAE, and R&D. We are small, but are a crucial arm of the company. We wear multiple hats, have responsibilities, and challenging projects. 1 year ago, this team was less than 15 people, and today we're a team of 45, with expectation to hire another 10 engineers this year and more coming in 2024. If you want to make a direct impact to technology, to methodology, and take part in growing a culture, come try us.
And next, please allow me to introduce Ding Kai, our senior manager from the Portland office.
Hi, I'm Ding Kai from Andes USA Portland office. We are looking for someone like you to join Andes to build the next generation RISC-V CPUs. Now we have multiple positions open. There are EV positions, designer positions. This is the right chance as a member of our engineering team, different methodology and different tool to implement our product. Great team, we have great product, we have great culture. So don't be hesitant, just join. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. All right, we are going to jump back over to Jeff. And here we are. So Jeff is going to talk about technical contribution and leadership in RISC-V. And who better talk about that than Jeff? I'll let you take it over. We'll double check your slides and everything.
Yeah, no, video's still up. Let me share the screen here. We'll go to the entire screen. We'll use the same trick as we used last time. See if we're good to go. Look okay?
Nailing it. Yeah, great job.
All right, so we're a few minutes behind, but I think we're in good shape because we got some room for some closing remarks and some breakout room time. Technical contributions and leadership. Basically, how to make the most of an opportunity is what I wanted to do in this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump right in here quickly. Just gloss over my background a little bit because we did that in the previous discussion. But I do want to say, remember, we're here talking about your career, where I've previously sort of talked about this idea of if you want to grow a career in RISC-V or any open source, map your skills against what's needed in the community and go attack the problem in this additional space, this additional resource that's different than what you're doing necessarily in your 9-to-5 day job. And it is this world of opportunities because all of these communities are seeking contribution. But I want to talk about, as a part of this one, how do you do this? And this really goes to how I spend my day-to-day job as a technical program manager, is helping people accomplish things in these communities. So this is where my background maps into the things we want to talk about today, which is how do you contribute and how do you lead in these communities? So the first step, and I think everybody, including the last presentation, and I think Raphael would also agree with this, says, hey, go find a community, find one project that interests you and get involved. How do we do that? Let me put a little, oh, where'd it go? Oh, wrong one. How do we do that broadly? First of all, I think we just need to make sure you have membership if you're going to contribute to RISC-V. So this is the reminder of you can always go get a free individual membership. Go see our individual membership page. The link will be in the slides. I think it's a great way to get started. So that's sort of the prerequisite. The second thing is, where do I find all the groups? The answer to that question is, once you get your ID and you've applied for your membership, there is a space on your portal page that's called subgroups. The link is there. That link works for everybody. You can go to that, find the subgroups for RISC-V, read their brief descriptions, read through, and go join the particular group. So that's where do I find the list of all the groups. The next thing is really now starting to get to the philosophy of this, which is when you start attending meetings, it's kind of like moving into a new neighborhood or moving into a new dormitory. You don't usually go out and run up and down the street and do everything all at once in the neighborhood that everybody else is doing. You show up a little more quietly, a little more shyly. You meet the person across the street. You meet the person beside you, maybe on each side. But you really just sort of show up, you look, you listen, and you begin to learn in these meetings and then start to contribute. So the first thing is I really like those 3 L's of look, listen, and learn as you're getting started. The second thing I would throw in is back to project needs. All of these needs exist, and we've already talked about that in my previous discussion on careers. So every project has needs, but the way these communities work is build your karma, your goodwill in the community, build it slowly. So if you're one of those people who likes to read, I found this outstanding article from some of my colleagues in the Linux Foundation called Participating in Open Source Communities. And again, RISC-V communities very much behave like open source communities. So it's very applicable, and it talks about how to begin to engage and gives you really, really specifics. But I would summarize a lot of what's suggested with start small. Start with those basic skills we talked about. Can I take notes? May I help with testing? Is there something I can document? Is there some updates that could be made on the website or the wiki? Start with those basic skills. Even those most menial needs, you might think, oh, those are so basic. Those need somebody to work on them. Oftentimes because, all the people are working on other things and they just get forgotten. And so this is a very, very easy way to earn goodwill, is to take on some of those very straightforward small tasks. Then seek out the leaders. They don't necessarily, in our case, we'd call them chairs of our community, chair or vice chair. They could just be the person hosting the call. They could be somebody who's talking an awful lot. Seek out those members and ask them what you could help with, where you could engage, and begin to establish your relationship with this. I mean, again, this is like moving into the dorm or moving into the neighborhood. Find those members of your community that are active and say, how can I help? Again, starting to build karma, goodwill, and use that trust to slowly do more. You'll hear it sometimes described in development as the crawl, walk, run. Do a little bit more. Or I also love the phrase here, give to get, right? Give to the community to begin to get more responsibility over time. So start small steps and give before you really start trying to take on the bigger things. Earn that karma, build slowly. Let me now make it very, very specific and very, very real as to how you might participate in RISC-V. So one of our largest challenges that we have with an open ISA and an open standard ISA that we have is verification of what we're doing with the ISA. And so we have a working group called the Golden Model SIG that I referenced in our career things, where we are perpetually making updates to our golden model. And SAIL is the tool by which we run our model to basically allow people to say, if it runs this way and meets these things, then we know that is good behavior. And this is used in comparisons against devices that are being developed, other simulator environments. So SAIL is a very important environment to us. So here is an outstanding community where there is lots of work going on at all sorts of times. And if you're an electrical engineer, if you want to go into verification, if you're doing anything around the ISA, this is a great place to get involved. The second one sits right on top of that, which is our architectural compatibility tests, or ACT as we call it. We again have a special interest group, SIG, that is out writing the tests that either run on SAIL as our golden model or run in these other simulator environments to be able to validate the results. So the golden model is sort of or SAIL is sort of an example of an entity that you run the tests against, or a device that you run the tests against. The actual tests are driven out of our architectural test SIGs. Again, lots to do here, always more to do. Great place to get started. In fact, we have a lot of students helping out of our dev partner environments that are learning good skills and starting to interact with our engineers. So there is another place to show up, to offer to help, to engage, and be able to gain some experience that can take with you for the rest of your career journey. The final place, if you're not a hardware person and you want to get engaged in software and tools, the final place I would point to is our Apps and Tools HC, or horizontal committee, where they're working on software compilers, libraries, runtimes in these environments where you still need ISA knowledge, but you're not necessarily doing the engineering, chip development. You're at that low level sort of application enablement area. So that is a third need where, again, you can envision with every ISA instruction, you have implications that need to occur in your golden model, in your tests, and also up in your software, what we would call the platform software, and your platform enablement software. And so that would be the third place that I would look. So the summary here: give a little, learn a lot, good luck, and build your resumes a little bit at a time. Questions, comments on this one? All right, Megan.
Yeah, what we're going to do now is, as you all heard, Andy's is hiring 10 people. So we're going to bring their team on video. Here you go. Okay, it looks like your presenter mode's already on. Helen, are you just like ahead of the game? Oh no, it's because you all are automatically speakers. Let me make sure. Crystal, okay. All right. Well, everyone is ready. So what we might do, and I've never tried this before, so bear with me here. There he is. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite I don't know if you don't want to be seen, cover your camera. I don't know how this works, but I'm going to try it. Oh, it won't let me do video. It only let me to unmute everyone. So if you have anything that you want to say, do feel free to talk in the chat. What we'd love to do is open it up to questions, right? I'd really like Andy's to talk a little bit about what they're looking for in employees. Tell us a little bit more about the jobs that you're looking for to hire. And feel free to go on camera if you want. And again, if anyone is interested in coming on camera, asking questions, anything like that, do say so in the chat. Hi, and I'll run over and put you so that you can have voice and video. I'm just afraid to do it to everyone right now. I saw we lost a few people. Maybe they're scared. But be sure you do stay till the end, because I do want to talk about some of our programs, and especially the advocate program, which is really targeted towards graduating students. So I think that'll be a really good opportunity. So I'll let Andy's take it away from here. And again, feel free to put your questions, or if you'd like to come on camera and ask a question, just throw that in the chat and I'll help you get in there.
Hi, thank you, Megan. Can you guys hear me? I guess so, yeah. So I'm monitoring the chat and just seeing that there are any questions. If not, I'm just going to throw through things out there. And special thanks to Megan, Helen, Raphael, and Jeff to set this up. We love the opportunity to talk to everyone out there, especially new grads. Hopefully, you all finished your thesis and your exams happily, and looking forward to starting your new career. But yes, just to acknowledge, yes, Andy's is hiring. Just in case if there's any misconception, we're a global company. We are headquartered in Taiwan. So if there's people who are in the Asia Pacific area, don't be afraid to send your applications to our headquarters. But if you're in the North America area, Canada and US, we are hiring here as well. So literally across the world, we are hiring. I'm not sure. Show some positions that are up there, right? But also find us on LinkedIn, ansi.com, main website, which I think, hold on, is this coming up now? Sharing screen.
I don't see it.
Share entire screen. There we go. A couple examples of positions that we do, are looking for, and don't worry about the year. This
It's still
particular
not showing.
slide.
There it is. Got it.
Okay. All right. This particular slide, describes certain years of experience, but don't worry about that. Let us be the judge of it. We are hiring from junior to senior personnel, and we do need people with experience in both verification, design, formal verification. If you're familiar with synthesis, place and route, that's good as well. In case there are any non-graduates, people who've been out there working for a few years now, but happen to be joining this session, then be aware we're also hiring senior members and managers as well. And yes, and Dinkai there has our homepage, and also follow us on LinkedIn because we do update our positions regularly there. I'm just checking, are there any questions? Not yet. So I have a question for you then. How many of you have a RISC-V account? Oh, is it open for undergraduate students or is it graduates only? We have undergraduate and we have graduate positions. Like I alluded to in my presentation, I highly recommend that you keep an open mind, especially if you are an undergraduate student. Experience things, take advantage that, trust us to help you build your career, help you find what suits you. I myself, I am hiring, let's see here. I'm hiring 2 undergraduates this year, actually, 2 people with a bachelor's, but the right skill set.
And I think Dinkai is hiring, I think have hired 2 masters or 2 graduates this year as well. So yes, we're open to both. Are there other questions?
I did see a question earlier if the roles are in person or remote.
Hybrid. So, well, actually, I should say, depending on where you're located, if you are, excuse me, if you happen to be in, say, the Portland area, which is where Dinkai is, then it will be hybrid, probably a few days at home, a few days in the office. If you're in Canada, specifically the Vancouver, West Coast area, that is the same. If you are not in one of the locations where we have an office, then you will be a full remote employee. And we have a couple of those as well. And I just quickly flip. Yeah, so here's an example. So you can see where the areas where we do have office, Vancouver, Portland, San Jose, there tends to be a higher concentration of people there who are working in hybrid mode. But we also have people remotely, Wisconsin, New York, Austin, Boston, and actually Chicago, which is missing here, Chicago as well. So we have at least 5 to a couple others, 6, 7 remote employees. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. You mentioned that people in oh, sorry, was that Megan?
Oh, no, I was just going to say that answered another question. JD Wilson was asking if you had an office in San Jose, and it looks like one of your bigger offices is there. So that's great.
We do have an office in San Jose. For those of you who are not in the Asia and North America region, it still doesn't hurt to apply. Maybe we could work something out after we get to know you and what your situation is. So that'll be a worst case scenario. We still encourage you to apply and talk to us. And hey, if it doesn't work this time around, at least, you make a new friend and we'll, stay in contact, right? No harm in that.
Have you on file. Yeah, I find that that's something that is really under considered by a lot of people, is just building that relationship with companies and individuals. Who knows if, getting to know that person, a job opens up and then you think of them as a potential option. I know that's an experience I've had in my career. So I think you have the right suggestion there.
Yeah, and I completely agree to your statements as well. I mean, you want the people who are hiring, like, the first reaction is like, hey, they think of a place and the first thing they think is you, right? That really puts you ahead in the game. Does remote option apply to undergrads too? That is a possibility, pending, what your skill set, what your career goals are, but possibility, and we should talk. Oh, and some people like to go back to the positions. Again, I want to remind you that the positions listed here, is just an example. I think if you are a new graduate, whether it be undergraduate or master's graduate, probably the things on the left-hand side pertain to you a little bit more. We are looking for people with familiarity with, let's say, bus protocols, or especially CPU architecture or RISC-V. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Do make an account on the RISC-V Foundation. Do download their specs. Take a look at them. And I believe there are recommended reading materials and literature there, which I wholeheartedly agree. Take a look at those. Is it likely that we will be contributing to open source project, or are they mostly internal facing? So RISC-V being an open source architecture, if you're joining there, then that will be open source. But Andes is a profit-making company. So if you are applying to Andes technologies, then you will be working on one of our CPU IPs in-house. So that will not be open source. where can we find technical specs for Andy's products? So you cannot download our products unless you're a customer, but you can read about our product availability through our main website. You could probably download a few general information materials about what our CPUs are capable of. If you have further questions about our product portfolio, the areas that we work on, then why don't you connect with us on LinkedIn? Crystal, I think you're there. Could you maybe put our LinkedIn URL address online here so people can follow us? Connect with myself or Crystal. You could probably find us on LinkedIn, and we can direct you to more information.
Some great advice coming into the chat. I have a question that I'm always curious because I think each company is so different. What is your hiring process like?
Okay.
So
I might actually have a slide for that as well. Here we go. I'll start by describing the interview process, which begins with an initial screening just to get to know what your interests are, what we have to offer, what are positions currently available, and make sure that the basic things line up. You'll be probably talking to Crystal, who just posted our LinkedIn page as well. After that, we'll likely do a series of technical interviews, usually about 3 with myself, our senior members, or Ding Kai or Lam, who's also here today. We'll ask you questions on programming, CPU hardware, architecture, some problem solving. There'll be a 30-minute corporate level interview where we discuss a few things about at the business side, corporate level, and then finally a final 15-minute follow-up. Usually would say that beginning to end, depending on your availability, the interviews will probably all complete within a few days. Again, we could do all the interviews, everything in one shot, one day, if you have the hours to go back to back on so many interviews. Otherwise, we could spread it out across a couple of days, which is fine. And one way or the other, we aim to provide a response within about 2 weeks' time. So pretty straightforward. If you're in one of our office locations, then we will encourage you to come by the office and do the interview in person so that you can take a look at the office area. So hopefully that answers your question.
Definitely. I think it's, especially hearing you try to aim for 2 weeks, that's impressive.
We try to do it faster, actually. Yeah. 2 weeks is like giving me a little bit of a buffer already.
Well, and that's the thing, right? I mean, the main reason RISC-V International is really putting so much effort into this is because what we're seeing is that in order for RISC-V to be really productive, we need individuals working and contributing, right? And every time we get bigger, our members get bigger, which means everybody needs more employees. So we're really focusing on bringing a lot of educational programs to you. And I know, Stephen, something that we've talked about separately is that, we member organizations want you to come in and show that you have the basic level knowledge and skill set, right? I just put a link in the chat that shows a number of our free courses that we offer. We have another course that's actually launching here pretty soon that will support you in taking the RISC-V Foundational Certification, which was created by the community as a way for a student graduating to showcase, yes, I've graduated, I have my degree, and I am able to prove that I have the basic level knowledge. So, understand that when you get into these roles, you may not have all of the knowledge that you need, but you will be trained, right? Stephen, you guys have a number of training opportunities once you get inside.
I should mention about that actually. What should you expect joining Andes? Again, if you're new to the industry, you'll likely be paired up with someone who has been in the industry for a while. So a little bit of a mentor-mentee relationship. Someone who's could guide you, you could shadow and not just work by your own in your own little cubicle or in your own little home office, but also look at what a veteran has been doing and the little tricks those little tricks, little organization skills, those little utilities that person uses that you're not going to read about in books, right? So everybody has their own formula for, let's say, for debugging or for doing designs, and that little personalized secret sauce. And you could pick up on that through this mentor-mentee relationship.
And that's so important. I think people have a hard time realizing that you don't have to have all the skill set going into a job, right? You want to be as prepared as you can, but that mentor-mentee relationship that you're offering is so valuable.
Yeah, Stephen, if I can tell a little bit of a story and get you to comment on it as well, I think it might be helpful to the group. So, in my session, I talked about the golden model SIG, having some needs, et cetera, right? And I mentioned that at the heart of the golden model SIG is the SAIL simulator. We had a student, worldwide student, start working in that community right out of college, doing good work. And had been there about 6 to 8 months, and suddenly we heard the student was moving, the student was relocating, and now had found a job working in the environment. And so here's a really great example where, to your point, they joined as an individual member, they found a group that interested them, they started making contributions and participating, and next thing he knew, he had a job. So my question to you is, I would guess that your recommendation of create your profile, go out there, start learning, the next step would be followed with, can you go find a group? Can you contribute? Because I think, to Andy's, if somebody as a student or a new employee or a new potential employee to hire is out contributing in a group, you would see that, you would recognize that, and that would be, I'll say, bonus points, but that would help them well in this process. So not just join the community, but find some place to start giving back is the story I'm trying to give. And I want to see what thoughts you have on that.
Yeah, I definitely agree to that. For someone to be, let's say, volunteering their time to do something, let's say in this case, contributing to, let's say, a tech group or whatever the case might be, it kind of tells me that not only do you have skills, real skills that are applicable, but you're also proving that you have that interest and you're committed to, taking that extra step to further to continue to stay in this industry or in this area. It kind of tells me that you're trying to achieve something and you're actively taking steps, whatever steps, wherever they may be, you're actively taking steps to achieve that. And that tells me that this person is very clear on the goals. In my slides earlier, I mentioned like this 1,000-mile journey and just start somewhere. And that really resonates with me.
Yeah, I love that insight. I like to call it the recovering manager in me, the former manager, right? You're looking for proof they can do something, demonstrated proof, and then also being able to see the motivation and the other things underneath that. It's more than just what you've accomplished. It's the initiative that you went and did it on your own outside of your area. I love that insight. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Self-starter. Yeah, it's so important. All right, I saw a number of other questions come through. It looks like what excites you most about Andy's was answered in the chat. JD Wilson says, from my understanding, Andy's is utilizing RISC-V ISA to develop your own proprietary CPU IPs. Just curious what Andy's vision for the future of compute is and how that aligns with RISC-V.
Andy's vision of compute and how that aligns with that. Wow, that's a tough question. Okay, so I think Andy's vision of compute, or Andy's vision as a company, is to continue to grow and deliver its product in a very wide range of today's electronic applications, if you will. So we're not laser focused on any one particular product, but rather we like to play and dabble in a variety of consumer applications today, right? So going from small electronics to very big ones like data centers, to cars, to storage, to embedded applications. So we have a very wide range of portfolio, and I believe we will continue to do so. And electronics is, becoming more and more integrated. I mean, this into our daily lives. I think that may seem obvious for those of you who've, maybe for the younger generation, that may have seemed obvious, right? You see electronics and you everywhere. But for those of you who, like myself, who grew up in the 70s and 80s, there wasn't as much electronics, and it's actually very fascinating to me that how the world has changed, and it will likely continue to change as electronic components and CPU play an ever more integral part of our life, and Andy's wants to be in every part of that. And RISC-V vision, I think in some ways RISC-V, and maybe Jeff, Rafa, Megan, and Helen maybe want to speak to this, but I believe RISC-V shares a very similar vision, is because it wants people to adopt this open source RISC-V architecture and tune it and apply it accordingly to their own SoC needs and application needs, right? It's not about developing one thing and stay in that one thing forever, because technology will change, our life will change, technology will revolutionize every so often, and we want to keep up. And so you kind of have RISC-V extensions that are applicable for embedded applications, but you also have extensions that are applicable for data centers and more complicated stuff. So I think that RISC-V is also trying to grow, but not grow in one direction, but grow in many directions. And I see Jeff is there going to be commenting on that, so I'll hand it to you, Jeff.
Yeah, Stephen, I think you raised an excellent point, and I think sometimes, we could reduce RISC-V to just another platform, right? Just like we have x86, we have AMD, we have ARM, and you could say, why would we need anything different? So you certainly, and for those of us that have spent time enabling platforms in the industry in a variety of software environments, et cetera, that is fun all by itself. Having another platform is great by itself, but you hit on the, what could it be? And RISC-V already is a key part of so many applications and environments where it's being done. But we are just a piece of what is going on in the chip technology ecosystem, right? In the old days, only the big players who could get into the foundries and or had their own foundries could build chips. It was really hard and expensive to build chips. And that is becoming more and more, I'll say a commodity, and I know that's sort of a scary word in this business, but it's becoming simpler and cheaper all the time, and people and processes are improving everywhere, and it's all part of what happens in the end game. And it's not just about what can the chips do at some point. It's going to be back to what can the whole ecosystem do in the broader sense when all of this is put together. And the potential is limitless. And I think the results are inevitable in the end, that we're going to change, we're going to change what the industry does and be a part of the change that is occurring right and left. So we're both going to be a key part of participating in that, but also a driver of that. And so it's exciting, and it's always fun to have partners who are making money doing this as well, like Andy's and others is where it becomes really cool. So.
Yeah, thanks. And, thanks so much for that, Stephen. It's great to hear you talk a bit more about working for Andy's and what your future vision is. So really excited. We're so grateful to have you here. RISC-V International would not be able to host these types of events without the support of our members. So thanks so much for being here. And anything else you wanted to add before I move on to closing remarks?
No, nothing to add. Just a good luck to all the new graduates there, and hope to talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, excellent. Well, I will go ahead and just finish up the talk today with sort of guiding you around a little bit. I know there are some questions about how to find the courses and the certification. So I'm going to share my screen. Ooh. Now I see why this was hard for everyone. Let's just do entire screen. Please don't get stressed out by all my tabs and my crazy background. Okay, so basically for anything that you want to look for that is in regard to, starting with RISC-V, mentorships, educational programs, you always want to, so this is just RISC-V International's website. You just want to start at community. And so where I am right now is, so you go to learn, and then in the learn section, you see a number of different resources. This is sort of where I would suggest you start. These are our free online courses, as well as our YouTube channel, which has a lot of talks that have already been given. I really encourage you to go there. All the talks from our RISC-V Summit are available there. Talks from Callista, talk from Jeff. The link I provided is direct to the community events. So community events are any events that are run by individuals in the community that are supported by RISC-V International. And those events are recorded and then published there. So the first thing I'll go over is the certification, which it took a very long time and is a very exciting project. So for all of these courses, you'll see all of our courses are here and our certification. If you click on the title of it, you will get the full description of what each of those are and how to enroll. So when thinking about how do I prepare myself for this course, you really want to do the expand all, and then you'll be able to see all of the different sections. So some of the ways that we recommend you prepare for this course are things like reading the specs, joining working groups, understanding how the organization works, and then having, the basic understanding of these. I do have exciting news that actually in a couple of weeks, we will have a course to support this, right? So our thought is that if you take the course, if you're reading the specs, if you're reading other articles that we recommend within this course, that will really support you in doing well on this certification. And once you do complete the certification, you get this fancy badge right here to put on your social media. You can put it in your email signature. And it's a great way to really showcase that you have been able to pass this certification. It is, I believe, 90 minutes, a proctored exam. So you can't have any notes. I think I was able to have a cup of water, but you have to prove it's a cup of water. And no notes or anything like that. There is a scratch pad for you to do math. But this is really exciting. And this is going to be something that will allow you to stand out from other individuals, because then the member already knows this person is knowledgeable in RISC-V, and I can give them that additional training like Stephen and I discussed. So that's something for you to know, that's really exciting. That course is coming out in June. Yeah. Oh yeah, they are very strict. I had to like shut my door and lock it, and yeah, it's very, very serious. So these are all of our courses, just so that you can see those. The other really exciting thing is our mentorship program. As you saw, Hima, who's here, participated in that program. So we just launched, I know 3 are published, 1 is coming, mentorships for our summer program. So that's really exciting. These are projects that are proposed by our members that really support the entire ecosystem. So this is a great opportunity to work one-on-one with someone who is knowledgeable in RISC-V and is going to be there to support you, right? We talked about building relationships. This is a great way to do that. So to find those mentorships, you just click right here on this button. And again, that link has been provided a couple times in the chat and is also available on the website for this event. So I encourage you to apply. The deadline is May 15th and the positions start on June 1st. And something we have started to do, just because we are getting so many people applying for these, is the first person selected is a paid mentorship. And then the other 2 are invited to participate without pay, which I think is such a fantastic opportunity that we're able to offer to people to really gain that experience to have on your resume, and also to really understand how working on a project like this can be. Those are all done remote, and mostly in your own time, except for you'll need to have some overlap with your mentor to have meetings. So that's the mentorship. The career page is also an important place for you to know about. So this is where we list, there's our mentorships right there, on our career page. So this is where we list all of our jobs that are currently available from members. So again, that's the careers page. And then I'll show you the ambassador page, but what I want to tell you about is a program that is launching in May. So the ambassadors are individuals who have been in their careers for a while, are really knowledgeable in RISC-V, give a lot of talks, are resource that people go to within the community. So what I'm really excited about launching is we're calling it the RISC-V Advocate Program. And what that is that's for more lower level people who maybe aren't already hired by an organization, but they are an individual member. They are contributing to a working group or a SIG. They have taken the certification and show that they have that basic level knowledge. They're hosting events locally for their community. And they're really sort of seen as the next generation of ambassadors, right? The people that are moving up in their career. So this program, like I said, is going to launch in May. The first year, so through 2023, it's going to be a pilot program. So it's invite only for the most part, but we are going to open it up for a few positions for people to apply. But then moving forward, it will be an application. So you'll apply every year and you'll have the year-long program. And essentially what that does is, you get the badge, you get a letter signed from Callista for you to have in your portfolio. Obviously swag. Everybody loves RISC-V swag. I've got my new jacket on. And it allows you to be one of the people that hosts those community events locally. It's really a way for you to stand out and show that you are knowledgeable in RISC-V. You can give talks in RISC-V, and you're part of the future. So really excited to start sharing that information with you all once it's ready. Like I said, early May. So we'll send that information out, as well as I'll be sure to send out to this group specifically once the course is available, the course that supports the certification. I'll send that details out to all of you. I think it'll be in June. So just keep an eye out for that. And with that, let's see if there's any other questions. There's, for the discounts, it looks like there's one. Oh, actually, that's something else I should mention that I just saw. The Linux Foundation right now is offering scholarships to participate in any of the courses that we offer. So let me grab that link for you all, because that's a really great opportunity if you're not able to afford purchasing some of these scholarships. So here's the Lyft scholarship right here. I'll put that in the chat. And there often are sales. You just sort of keep an eye on the Linux Foundation Twitter. They put a lot there, and LinkedIn. But with that, just in closing, we're really excited that you're here. You are the bedrock of what is going to continue to be RISC-V forever. So thanks so much for participating and taking time out of your busy day. As we said, the recording will be available next week. We'll shoot you out an email once that's available. And for the presenters that want to share their slides, those will be in their bio next week as well. So let's see, were there any last questions? Discount. Yeah. So look, someone already provided you with a discount code. Awesome. Well, if there aren't any more questions, I'll just say thanks again to our speakers for taking the time out of their busy day to be here. And thanks so much to Andy's for supporting this initiative through sponsorship. And we're just really grateful and can't wait to see what you all do in the community, and looking forward to watching you on the Slack and LinkedIn and really building your experience. Great. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.